Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Crowd Confidence. Today we're diving into powerful tips to build unshakable confidence and stand out boldly. When you expose your plans too early, you unintentionally invite resistance that wasn't even assigned to you. There's a principle that governs the lives of successful people. What is sacred is protected, not exposed. Many people fail not because their idea was weak, not because their plan lacked strategy, but because they opened their mouth in the wrong room. Some plans don't die because of poor execution. They die because of premature exposure. Every plan, no matter how divine or brilliant, is vulnerable in its infancy. When something is still forming, it's most fragile, and in that fragility, it must be shielded, not showcased. When you speak prematurely about a vision, you give critics ammunition. Some will discourage you, not out of wisdom, but out of fear that you may succeed where they failed. Others will sabotage you because they feel threatened. The minute you reveal your intention, it becomes a target. Not everyone who smiles at you is your supporter, and not every listener is safe. Even your silence is a defense mechanism. Silence builds strength, but exposure opens the door for opinions, and opinions can breed doubt. What you speak out of season can be stolen or twisted. Ideas are like seeds. Imagine planting a seed in the ground, and then digging it up every day to show people it's still there. That seed will never grow. It needs time, pressure, and darkness. Some of your greatest ideas need to be hidden for a season so that they can germinate in the soil of discipline, study, and preparation. Before you make noise in public, you must have made roots in private. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. There is power in not revealing your next move. It confuses the enemy, frustrates the critics, and humbles the opposition. Sometimes the best strategy is invisibility. You don't fight every battle with a sword. Some you win by staying quiet. Every time you talk too soon, you give people a chance to misunderstand you, mislabel you, or manipulate your direction. There are people waiting to hear your next move so they can plan how to delay it. But they can't delay what they can't see. If Joseph had kept his dream to himself, maybe he wouldn't have been thrown in a pit. If Nehemiah had spoken before the wall was halfway built, perhaps the enemies would have come before he had any structure. The pattern is clear. Great vision requires great discipline in speech. Be wise enough to know that not every table is meant for your blueprint. Not every conversation is meant for your construction plans. Sometimes silence is your security. Plans that are covered are harder to attack. A thief doesn't break into a house with no treasure. When your plan is hidden, you protect it from the unnecessary battles that come from too much visibility. Every great vision begins as a whisper in the soul, a quiet idea, a sudden conviction, a picture of a future only you can see. It does not arrive with noise, applause, or confirmation. It shows up when you're still, when you're alone, and often when no one else is watching. This is intentional. Vision does not mature in noise, it matures in silence. Like a seed that grows under the soil, your vision needs time away from public eyes to develop its roots. There are things that can only grow when kept hidden. The early stages of a dream are not ready for exposure. They need privacy, not publicity. Silence is the greenhouse of vision. It is in the quiet seasons where the internal structure of purpose is formed. When you're not speaking, you're listening more. When you're not performing, you're preparing. That's when you refine your motives, test your commitment, and align your goals with your deeper convictions. Vision kept in silence becomes purified. It is not contaminated by applause, distorted by opinions, or diluted by external pressure. You're not building to impress, you're building to fulfill. In silence, your vision becomes stronger, clearer, and more authentic. When people talk too soon, they invite pressure they're not ready for. Vision is not a performance, it's a responsibility. And when you start promoting it before it's prepared, you end up trying to manage expectations instead of maturing your purpose. The weight of outside attention can crush what was meant to be carried in a quiet season. Many visions die not because they lacked potential, but because they were exposed to sunlight before their roots were deep enough. There's a reason why diamonds are formed under pressure in darkness, not on the surface. They are hidden, shaped by time, and refined in conditions that no one sees. By the time the world discovers them, their value is undeniable. Your vision is no different. If you let it stay hidden long enough, it will reveal its brilliance when the time is right. But if you bring it out too soon, it may never survive the pressure of being seen. In silence, you are not passive. You are active in the unseen. You're planning, learning, stretching, praying, building, and adjusting. No one sees your notebooks. No one sees your late nights. No one sees the drafts you throw away, the doubts you fight through, or the courage it takes to keep going when no one is clapping. But that silence is not emptiness, it's preparation. Every private decision is adding strength to your public success. The people who succeed are often the ones who understood the timing of silence. They didn't rush to share what was still growing, they honored the process. They waited until their vision had matured enough to stand on its own. There's a maturity in silence that the loud don't understand. Silence is not hiding, it is hatching. You are not withholding out of fear, you are protecting out of wisdom. When your vision matures in silence, it becomes immune to distractions. It doesn't need validation to survive. It doesn't chase attention. It draws it, because what is developed in silence commands respect when revealed. When you finally speak, your voice carries weight because it's been forged in discipline. When you show your work, it speaks for itself. You don't have to convince people. You only have to present results. If you feel the urge to talk too soon, pause. If you feel the need to impress others with your plan, wait. Let the vision grow until it's too powerful to be denied. Let it build such a foundation in silence that when the winds of criticism or challenge come, it doesn't shake. Great things are always born in silence. The greatest inventions, the deepest truths, the most powerful movements. They all started in the hidden place, far from the noise. Vision does not shout, it develops. It does not rush, it ripens, and when it is ready, it speaks. Not through words, but through impact. Keep your vision in silence long enough for it to mature, because anything that matures in silence will last in the spotlight. In a world driven by visibility, there's power in mystery. One of the greatest protections your vision can ever have is secrecy. What people cannot see, they cannot sabotage. What they do not understand, they cannot misinterpret. When your plans are kept private, they are safe from unnecessary warfare. Not every battle you face is because of your mistake. Some come because you spoke too soon. Silence is a strategy. When you keep your intentions to yourself, you remove the possibility of being targeted before your structure is strong enough to withstand the pressure. The problem is that many people reveal the blueprint while the building is still in design. They speak prematurely, post every idea, announce every move, and then wonder why confusion, resistance, and even betrayal show up. The truth is, every listener is not a supporter, every friend is not a builder. Some are merely observers, waiting for the chance to disrupt what you are constructing. But if they don't know what you're building, they can't build against it. It is often the exposure, not the execution, that creates your enemies. You must understand the principle of hidden progress. Progress doesn't always have to be announced. Sometimes the most powerful advancement happens silently. Quiet doors open, quiet steps are taken, quiet strategies are implemented. You don't always need to broadcast your preparation. People can't destroy what they cannot detect. The more invisible your process, the more secure your outcome. Even in spiritual and historical narratives, we see this truth repeated. The wise men didn't return to Herod after seeing the child, because once the plan of God is revealed to the wrong person, a plot is formed. The enemy never attacks randomly. He attacks based on information. So guard your information, guard your plans, guard your next step. Discretion is a weapon, and silence is a shield. People often want credit before completion. They talk about what they're going to do instead of letting what they do speak for itself. But silence requires humility. It demands the discipline to keep working while being misunderstood, the strength to keep building while being underestimated, and the wisdom to know that applause isn't required for success. If your goal is impact, not attention, then silence becomes your advantage. There are also internal battles that come from overexposure. When too many people know your next move, you carry the weight of their expectations, opinions, and judgment. This pressure can cause you to alter your path just to meet the demands of the crowd. But if you move in silence, you are free to course, correct, adjust, and evolve without external noise. You make decisions based on purpose, not pressure. Your assignment is not public opinion, it's divine direction. That direction doesn't require a public memo. It requires quiet obedience. There's a reason elite forces train in secret. There's a reason great artists don't unveil the painting until it's finished. The process is messy, raw, and sensitive. You don't display the surgery while it's happening. You wait until healing has occurred. Your plan is undergoing a surgical season. Keep it under wraps, and understand this: those who talk less are often feared more. Because when people can't figure you out, they can't control you. When they don't know your next move, they can't block your path. Silence breeds unpredictability, and unpredictability is power. The moment people can predict your behavior, they can manipulate your outcomes. But when they don't know your strategy, they waste their energy guessing while you're executing. This is not about being secretive out of paranoia. It's about being selective out of wisdom. You don't owe the world your process. You don't need to explain your grind. Let them see the fruit, not the seed. Let them see the structure, not the scaffolding. Let them witness the result, not the rehearsals. Because once the outcome is visible and the foundation is strong, no attack can dismantle what has already been established. So move in silence, build in secret, and execute in private, because people can't attack what they don't know. And what they don't know, they can't stop. In the world of purpose, what makes the greatest impact is not what you say, it's what you produce. Anyone can make announcements, but only the disciplined can manifest results. Noise is easy, execution is rare. When you truly understand the weight of your vision, you stop trying to impress people with promises and start focusing on outcomes. A fulfilled purpose doesn't need an introduction. It proves itself. Real power is not found in declarations but in demonstration. People often confuse activity with productivity. They make loud declarations about what they will do, what they plan to achieve, how they will change the world. But purpose doesn't respond to declarations. It responds to action. It is not the announcement that moves things. It is the movement itself. You don't need to tell the world what you're about to do when you're already doing it. Results have a voice of their own, and when they speak, they silence critics, shut down doubts, and command respect. There is a wisdom in withholding your intentions, not because you are unsure, but because you are focused. You don't need to advertise a seed that's been planted. When the harvest comes, everyone will see it. The most effective builders are often the quietest because they are too busy working to explain. They don't waste time announcing phases. They reveal finished work. You must reach a place where your output is your statement. Your life, your success, your progress, and your fruits speak louder than your social updates and verbal promises. If you study those who have left a lasting mark on the world, you'll notice a common trait. They were not driven by applause. They were consumed by assignment. They weren't trying to go viral. They were trying to fulfill a vision. While others were talking, they were building. While others were marketing unfinished work, they were finishing what they started. There's a level of excellence that cannot be faked. You can't argue with results. You can dismiss opinions, but you cannot deny outcomes. The need to announce prematurely often comes from insecurity. It's the desire to be validated before anything is produced, but that validation is temporary. Real credibility comes from proof, and proof takes time. When you're more focused on performance than preparation, you end up with shallow victories that don't last, but when you focus on results, you build something that can't be shaken. Sometimes the greatest proof that you're walking in purpose is the silence of your process. You don't need to convince people of your capacity. Your fruit will testify. Let the work you've done introduce you. Let the transformation in your life speak before you ever explain it. Let your business, your book, your craft, your discipline, your relationships, all of it be the loudest part of your story. Results echo through rooms that announcements can't even enter. There's also a level of freedom in not making grand announcements. When you don't speak too soon, you give yourself the space to pivot, improve, and shift without the pressure of public expectation. You are not bound by the image you created. You are free to evolve in the shadows. And by the time you emerge, what you have to show will be stronger than anything you could have explained. When the results are real, the room changes when you walk in. When the fruit is visible, the conversation shifts. People stop asking what you're doing and start asking how you did it. They begin to listen, not because of your volume, but because of your value. You won't have to beg for recognition. Impact makes its own announcement. So stay focused on the process. Protect your energy from the temptation to talk. Guard your vision from the noise of opinion. Let your discipline be your press release. Let your excellence be your microphone. Let your impact be your voice. And when the time comes, when your results are undeniable, you won't have to say a word, because your success will be speaking for you.